Visualize Bodhisattva, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings in front of you. Arya Manjushri, Arya Maitreya, Arya Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, Arya Tara, Arya Vajrabhani, Arya Kishidagarva, Arya Nagarjuna, Acharya Chandi, Arya Deva, Buddha Palita, Acharya Chandrakirti, and Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, the author of the text, to which we are studying, and all the enlightened beings in front of you, and how you visualize them. They are like a very affectionate parents, and imagine you come home demoralized, and your parents are there waiting for you to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. Bodhiji the field. Visualize your two kind parents on the two sides, and all the dear Mother Sentient, all the family members, including your children, and all dear Mother Sentient beings, the human beings, the animals, the insects, the health beings, the hungry ghost beings, the celestial beings, all, and how you visualize them. Here you are the mother, and all others are like children. Imagine they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, so forth. And number 3 is the purpose of this practice. Okay, let us pay more attention to this part, number 3, the purpose of this practice. So this will summarize many of the points which we are doing over the 9 days. The purpose of the practice is to discover ultimate treasure of happiness that exists within each one of us, which is also referred to as the Tathagata Garba, which is also referred to as the Buddha nature. The full, it's like the diamond, fine purity, so pure, which is full of wisdom, full of compassion, and full of power. The activation of which will make you like a sun, which has the capacity to illuminate every atom of the universe. Likewise, which has the capacity to illuminate every mind of the dear Mother Sentient beings with perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. And if this is the case, why not we see this power within us now at this moment? Why don't we see this? It's all because of the mental defilements. Like gold, when mixed with the soil in its ore form, although the gold is there, but it's not visible. Not because the gold is absent, but because the gold is obscured by the soil. And how do we know that there's gold there? Remove the soil one by one, you see that the gold inside will slowly start to glow. Likewise, the true nature of mind is like this gold mixed with the soil. So this gold is so pure within us, yet when mixed, we don't see it glowing. So as we remove the metal dirt, then this Buddha nature inside us, the gold-like, the diamond-like, that will become manifest. At that point, you become fully enlightened, and you are freed of all miseries, and you have a potential to benefit all dear sentient beings. The next point, how can I get rid of all these mental defilements so that the gold inside will come to glow? For that matter, we need to know the nature of the defilements. And the defilements which obscure the spirit of Buddha nature is of two kinds, the gross and the subtle. The gross one is also referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle one is referred to as the cognitive obscurations. The gross one, afflictive obscurations, the mere presence of this stops us from achieving nirvana, achieving freedom from the fears of samsara. And the subtle one stops us from achieving total enlightenment, Buddhahood. Okay, how should I get rid of these defilements? Yes, after knowing what they are, afflictive obscurations, the first one is of 3 kinds. Contaminant karmas, afflictions, and the active seeds. And all these 3 somehow boil down to self-grasping ignorance. And then on the other hand, the cognitive obscuration. This is the inactive seed, or the inactive seed of the afflictive obscurations. Inactive seed of the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which stops us from achieving Buddhahood. Now, how to get rid of knowing these? How to get rid of this? So, either afflictive obscurations rooted to the self-grasping ignorance, or the cognitive obscurations, the subtle stains of these afflictive obscurations, which means that something to do with the ignorance. Because it is to do with the ignorance, the counterforce is the wisdom. So it is only the wisdom, the activation of which will we find hope to eradicate all the mental defilements. So this wisdom plays very important, wisdom of emptiness. It is for this reason that the text which we are studying, chapter 9 of the wisdom chapter, Guided to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra started by saying that all these teachings of the Buddha were done for the sake of the wisdom, to activate the wisdom so that our mental defilements will be cleansed altogether, and the Buddha nature within us, the diamond of the Buddha nature within us will become manifest in its full form. Okay, this is the purpose. So with this in mind, how this wisdom will work depends on the strength of the wisdom, which is like the axe to cut the poisonous tree. How this wisdom, the axe will cut the poisonous tree, depends on the strength of the woodcutter. If the woodcutter is very lazy and not at all working, then even though the axe is so sharp, it cannot help to cut the poisonous tree. So whereas if there is a woodcutter, not lazy, but if not physically so strong, can cut only the smaller stems, which means they will eradicate the afflictive obscurations, not the cognitive obscurations. Now, so that is the motivation of the renunciation. Whereas if the woodcutter is very strong, very strong, the bodhicitta is where the bodhicitta is the driving force, then this wisdom will cut the mental defilements altogether. Not only the afflictive obscurations, but also the cognitive obscurations. Okay, with this in mind, let's turn to page 2. The motivation is to activate this wisdom of emptiness, driven by the force of bodhicitta, which is grounded on renunciation. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 2. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma to dispel all Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through possession of omniscience substitutes set forth the varieties having all aspects. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you are my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, that is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble life race. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Om ye dharma hetum te shantatagatto yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetum te shantatagato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. Hetum Teshan Tathagatoyavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are drawn. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, by my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, by my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, by my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, we'll recite the Heart Sutra mantra. As we recite this, let us not miss to include in your visualization your two parents and all your family members, including your children and all sentient beings with you. Because imagine that there are 7 billion human beings on this earth. And of these 7 billion human beings, how many really get the opportunity to understand what emptiness is? And how many really get the opportunity to recite Heart Sutra and reflect on the meanings of the mantra. So as we recite this, visualize that the Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so compassionately exhort us thus. Don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come to His ultimate happiness, lasting ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of the Buddha Shakyamuni, you inspire your two parents, you inspire all your dear sentient beings, including children. Look, this is what a compassionate teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, is exhorting us. Let us not remain in fears of samsara anymore. Let us all go towards ultimate happiness. And all sentient beings, they are so happily hearing you. They are so happily joining you in this journey of cleansing the mind, to awaken this Buddha nature within yourself in the form of the Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisattva. Teyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva Teyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva Teyata Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva. Okay. Okay, so what we are learning here, yesterday, we are on page 1, stanza 3. Through differences in the intelligence, the yogis too are undermined by the higher ones. A thesis is proved to be by examples accepted by both. Unanalyzed practitioners train for the result. Okay, so the synopsis, the summary of what we're doing over the whole chapter boils down to two questions. boils down to two questions. Do things exist? Question one. Then number two, do things exist objectively? Right? Okay, two questions. Do things exist and do things exist objectively? These are two questions. If you get a proper answer to these questions so well, then you are in the proper track. There is no danger that that you pursue through the emptiness. In the pursuit of the emptiness, people tend to fall under what is known as nihilism. Extreme nihilism. You'll be saved from nihilism. So the first question is, do things exist? What is the answer? Yes. The moment somebody says, oh, Buddhism does not accept, Buddhism talks about selflessness, no self, but in Buddhism nothing exists. This is a total misconception. The person, instead of understanding the Buddhist concept, the person is falling into nihilism. Right? So the answer, you encounter with anyone. Anybody comes to you and talk about, oh, in Buddhism there is no self, in Buddhism there is nothing like this, right? And some say great teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, in the teaching, once in a while, suddenly he may say that there's no self, there's no. So in fact, what His Holiness is referring to is from the point of view of the ultimate analysis. Don't forget it. From the point of view of the ultimate analysis. Right? So, if anybody very strongly tells you that in Buddhism there is no self, there is nothing there, you just remember these two questions. Right? Say, the first question, do things exist? What is the answer? Yes. If you say no, that person falls into nihilism. Okay. Only if you say yes to the first question, then you can go to the second question. Do things exist objectively? What's the answer? No. If you say yes to the first question, no to the second question, only then you are on a proper track. Only you are in a proper track. This is the meaning. You are getting somewhere of what emptiness is, what emptiness means. Okay. Then, of course, with these two things combined together, these two questions combined together, if things exist but don't exist objectively, how do things exist? What's the answer? Subjectively. Okay, this is what we need to know. Now, on the contrary, unless we study this, we study this concept that things exist but don't exist objectively. Unless we study this, we are prone to equate two things. What? Existence and objective existence. You're getting it? We are prone to equate the two things. If we are not exposed to the concept of emptiness, if one is not exposed to the concept of emptiness, you are prone to equate the two things. What are they? Existence and objective existence. Right? If you say the flower exists, if you say the flower exists in your mind, subconsciously you say that flower exists objectively. If you say the flower does not exist objectively, you say flower does not exist. So this is how, when we don't understand emptiness, we tend to equate the two things. When you equate the two things, then all the problems arise. Right? Okay. Okay, let's see. The stanza 5. Refuting objections from the proponents of inherent existence. Okay. So for this, these synonyms, we have to know some of the synonyms, right? So in terms of what is being rejected, so this is primarily from the point of view of the Prasangika school. Okay, first of all, we need to know these things, these technicalities. Of course, I can see that many of you are already exposed to these concepts, say from TBC, from ABC, and from Nalanda Master's course, and some from the Diploma course, Nalanda Diploma course. Okay, so we see that you are exposed to these concepts, but those who are new, and I'm saying this again, right? So technical words can come. Some technical words, terms can come. Don't give up, right? Just note them down, and many of others, they already know these words. And then if you are new to this, note them down, and going back home, see if you can have those on your fingertips. Because these things, the technical words that I'm going to use, they will come over and over and over again. So therefore, if I use 4 technical terms, if I use this set 10 times, 10 into 4 is 40. You think that I don't know 40 things. In actuality, it's not 40, it's just 4. Simply because you do not make this by your heart, right? Then the 40 times you did not know, oh no, there's no point coming to Tibet, the TPC class, right? If you know these 4 things, you know 40 things, right? Okay, so this is what we need to put a little bit of effort. And though others, those who are already into these more systematic studies for the last many years, they already know these things. Okay, so let's say the 4. In terms of the philosophy, the Buddha, after achieving enlightenment, he remained silent for 49 days. He did not teach. And then the kings of the gods and goddesses, Indra and Brahma, they descended and made prostrations to Buddha and pleaded the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma. So finally the Buddha started giving teachings. So these teachings came to be summarized in what is known as the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma. 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma. Okay, so for this, the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, in simple terms, we need to know for these 3 turns of the wheel of Dharma, what we need to know is the place where taught, what is the subject matter, taught, and who's the target audience. 3 things, the place, the subject matter, and the target audience. Okay, so before I go into this, let me say for the target audience, to know what the target audience is, we need to know what is known as the 4 Buddhist philosophical schools. It's nothing to do with Chinese tradition, Tibetan tradition, Theravada. It has nothing to do with this. This is just a purely the philosophy in terms of the philosophy proponents. 4. Number 1 is Vaibhashika. Vaibhashika, right? Okay, Vaibhashika. Vaibhashika. And number 2 is Sautantrika. Number 2 is Sau, S-A-U. Okay, Vaibhashika. V-A-I-B-H-A-S-H-I-K-A. Vaibhashika, right? Vaibhashika. Number 2, Sautantrika. S-A-U-T-A-N-T-R-I-K-A. Sautantrika. Number 2. Number 3 is Chitta Matra. C-H-I-T-T-A-M-A-T-R-A. Chitta Matra. Right? Okay. So finally, Madhyamika. M-A-D-H-Y-A. Madhya. M-A-K-A. Madhyamaka. Madhyamika, both are correct. Madhyamika. Okay, 4 schools. 4 schools. And I will, the 4th one. What's the 4th one? Madhyamika school. Middle way school. Madhyamika means the middle way. And what is the 3rd one? Chittamatra. Chittamatra in English is mind only school. Mind only school. And the Madhyamika is middle way school. Right? Okay. Now, the middle way school, there's no option other than for me to divide it further into 2. Right? And then I promise not to divide it further. Right? Otherwise, you may feel bored. Okay. Right? And I'm not so keen on the classifications. Okay. So don't worry. Madhyamika, we divide this into 2. Prasangika, P-R-A-S-A-N-G-I-K-A. Prasangika. P-R-A-S-A-N-G-I-K-A. Prasangika. Right? And the next one is Savatantrika. Early one is Sautantrika. Now here is Sava. S-V-A. S-V-A-T-A-N-T-R-I-K-A. Savatantrika. Okay. So what we say is Prasangika Madhyamika, Savatantrika Madhyamika. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this we make sure that going back home, you must have these on your fingertips, right? Okay, good. The next. Now the point is that the 3 turnings of wheel of Dharma. 3 turnings of wheel of Dharma. So the Buddha when requested by the kings of the celestial beings, the gods and goddesses, then the Buddha said this stanza. So there Buddha said, the path which I've discovered is very profound, is very, very peaceful, is devoid of elaborations, non-composite, and the clear light, finding no one who can fathom this teaching, I rather retire into the woods. So saying that this reality which the Buddha discovered is so profound that he could hardly find anyone who can fathom this teaching. So therefore, he prefers to retire to the woods, remain in the woods, in the wilderness for his own, by himself. Then the celestial kings of the gods and goddesses, they made more presence to Buddha Shakyamuni, and finally the Buddha Shakyamuni they accepted to turn the wheel of Dharma. So this turn of the wheel of Dharma meaning giving teachings, give innumerable teachings, but all are somehow subsumed under three categories, known as the three turnings of the wheel of Dharma. The first one, in terms of place, it is Sarnath or Varanasi. First one is Varanasi, the place. And in terms of subject matter, it is the Four Noble Truths. Subject matter is Four Noble Truths. And in terms of target audience, the first two schools. Which are the first two schools? Vaibhashika and Sautantrika school. These two schools are the target audience, right? Okay, one. Number two, the place is Rajgir, Vulture's Peak, or the Rajgir place. And in terms of subject matter, is on the ultimate reality, emptiness. Subject matter is emptiness. And the target audience is number 4. What is number 4? Madhyamika school, Madhyamika. Within Madhyamika there are two, both fall under this category, right? Okay, that is the second turning wheel of Dharma. Third turning wheel of Dharma, the place-wise, is Vaishali. V-A-I-S-H-A-L-I, Vaishali. This is the place. And the target audience is the number 3. Which is number 3? Chitta Matra school. Chitta Matra, mind-only school. Same. Okay, this target audience. And the subject matter is known as the unraveling the intention, or say distinguishing the characteristics. Okay, I'll quickly explain these three here. I could explain that. The first turning wheel of Dharma in where? Sarnath, Varanasi, Sarnath, the Buddha Shakyamuni taught the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, taking for granted that the Four Noble Truths exist objectively. Right? That Four Noble Truths exist objectively. Okay, not like a dream, like something, some solidity from the object. Second turn of wheel of Dharma, the Buddha taught the opposite. The Buddha said, nothing exists objectively. Right? Second turn. For first turn of wheel of Dharma, the Buddha taught everything exists. No, the particular Four Noble Truths. Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths with the supposition that the Four Noble Truths exist objectively. And then the audience, who were the audience? Vaibhashika and Sautantrika, they were very happy and they left. Right? Okay, then in Rajgir, the Buddha taught that nothing exists objectively. Right? Then the fourth group, Madhyamikas, they were very happy. They left. Then who left? Chittamatra left. Right? Chittamatra, they were confused. Right? At first the Buddha taught that Four Noble Truths exist truly. Now second wheel of Dharma, Buddha taught nothing exists truly. So which should we follow? Which of the two teachings should we follow? So this is a question. So therefore the one of the Bodhisattvas, Bodhisattva Thandamyata, he on behalf of the Chittamatrins, he stood up and asked the question to the Buddha as to why the Buddha taught the two contradictory teachings. And then the Buddha interpreted his own teachings interpreted. So this interpretation, distinguishing the characteristics, meaning that on the one hand the Buddha taught that the Four Noble Truths exist truly, and the second time the Buddha taught nothing exists truly. So why? Why he taught truly? Why he said nothing is truly? So he interpreted his own teachings. So that turned to be known as the unraveling the intention. That teaching is known as unraveling the intention. Unraveling the true intention of the first two teachings. You're getting it? This forms the third turning of the wheel of Dharma. Now, when I speak about the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, it is not as simple as that. Third turning of the wheel of Dharma, what happened was that in Vaishali, they were the Buddha Shakyamuni was presiding over the congregation, and then innumerable the Bodhisattvas were there. Out of these 10 very prominent Bodhisattvas, like Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, Maitreya, all these great Bodhisattvas were there. And then this Bodhisattva Tunamendapa, he was the one who stood up. And in fact, of all these Bodhisattvas, 10 Bodhisattvas stood up to ask their own respective questions. At the time of third turning wheel of Dharma in Vaishali, 10 Bodhisattvas, they stood up to ask their own questions. You getting it? And some of these questions are about the Buddha nature. What is Buddha nature? Right? Very complicated questions were asked to the Buddha Shakyamuni. And this response which the Buddha Shakyamuni gave precisely to the question raised by Bodhisattva Tunamendapa. Bodhisattva Tunamendapa pertaining to the on behalf of Chiddamatra. So that teaching came to be known as unraveling the intention. Unraveling the intention, meaning that what he taught earlier, what the Buddha taught earlier, first turning, second turning, what is the true intention? So that he unraveled. Right? Okay. So that turns out to be the third turning of wheel of Dharma. Now, having said that, what we said is second turn of wheel of, what is the subject matter of second turn of wheel of Dharma? Emptiness. Emptiness of what? Emptiness of objective existence, emptiness of true existence, emptiness of inherent existence. Okay. So why I'm asking this question is that there are several synonyms. We must know these synonyms. If you don't know these synonyms, then later on when you read the books, you will find yourself in problem, right? You will easily end up in confusion. Okay, there are several synonyms. All these vocabularies are synonymous pertaining to the Prasangika, particularly the Prasangika Madhyamika, right? Okay, objective, intrinsic, inherent, independent, true, ultimate, and what else? Absolute, very good, okay. Wow. Thank you. Okay, so what are they? Objective, inherent, intrinsic, independent, true, ultimately, and absolutely, absolute existence, right? Okay, these 7, there are many more. If you like more, there are many more. But the 7 is good enough, right? Say, these 7 are synonymous. Don't forget it. These 7 are synonymous. Say, when Prasanga rejects no true existence rejected, when one rejects true existence, you are all rejecting all the remaining 7 also. It's the same. It's a different vocabulary. But later on, for the time being, I'm doing it in a simplistic way, but later on, we must go to the point that as your study of the emptiness becomes more extensive, then don't just leave it, okay, these 7 mean synonymous. Don't do it in a simplistic way. There's a reason why they are synonymous, right? You think about how things, intrinsic. What is intrinsic? Intrinsic means something inside. There's essence inside. Intrinsic. Inherent. Inherent meaning not really the external thing, but the object from its own side. Intrinsic means from inside. One is from its own side rather than from inside. It has its own connotations. True as opposed to false or deceptive. The ultimate ultimately as opposed to conventionally. Okay, again, see, these are the things that we need to keep in mind. Ultimately as opposed to conventionally. Truly as opposed to deceptively. And then the what? Objectively as opposed to subjectively. Independently as opposed to dependently. Very good. Okay, so these again, the not only the synonyms but also the opposites we should know. Independent as opposed to dependent as opposed to independent. Subjective as opposed to objective. Then deceptive as opposed to true. Conventional as opposed to ultimate. Okay, these are the things that we need to learn. You're getting it? These opposites and the synonyms. These we have to learn. So when you say something exists subjectively, then what else? What are the synonyms? Things exist subjectively, conventionally, deceptively, dependently. Okay, right. Okay, we need to know these synonyms and opposites. Okay, with this now the point is that except for prasangika, don't forget it, except for prasangika, except for the Prasanga High School, all other schools for them, they say that the flower, okay, if it says the flower exists, in their mind, flower existence and objective existence, these two are taken as synonymous. All the other schools, existence and objective existence are taken as synonymous. You're getting it? Which means that if something, if you take the flower exists, you are saying that flower exists objectively. This is how the other schools understand. This is what Prasangika does not accept. Whereas now, with this book, what we're going to study is that existence and objective existence, they don't mean the same. This is what we're going to learn. Right? From our point, same. You are Prasangika and I'm the lower schools, any lower schools, right? Okay. This flower, question to you, flower exists, not exists? It exists. So, what is my response? The flower exists, not exists? Exists. Now, the next question. Flower exists objectively. What is your response? No. So, what is my response? Flower exists objectively. Yes. So, in other words, the lower schools, it is only Prasangika who can say that existence and objective existence, these two are different. These two don't mean the same. Objective existence never exists. Existence exists. This is Prasangika. The rest of the schools say existence and objective existence, these two are synonymous. You're getting it? Okay. With this in mind, let's turn to stanza 5. The world sees things and conceives them to be truly existent. Okay. So, what we learned earlier was that the perception of the world is undermined. The world is of two kinds. What? The yogis and the common people. You're getting it? Okay, here. See, now here, the world of the yogis and the world of the common people. Now here, stanza 5, the world here refers to the common people. Here, in this sense, refers to the common people. Now, how the ordinary people, how the common world sees things and conceives them meaning the phenomena, to be truly existent. Anything which exists, common people think that they exist truly. Where the yogis, they see things as empty of true existence. So therefore the yogis will undermine the common people's thinking. You're getting it? Okay. The world here, common world, the world of common people sees things and conceives things to be truly existent. Truly existent, objectively existence, they all mean the same. Right? Okay. Now tell me, from your point of view, things, do they exist objectively? Things exist objectively? Yes? No? No. So you reject things existing objectively. So because you reject things existing objectively, you undermine the common people. You're getting it? Okay. Not like in, so how they see the world, how they see things. They don't see things like illusion. Yesterday what we discussed was that everything is like illusion. Everything is not illusion. Everything is like illusion. We made the distinction yesterday, right? But the ordinary people, they don't see things as illusion-like. Not like an illusion. In this regard, there is dispute between the yogis and the world. World here refers to the common world. Okay, what is that dispute between the yogis and the common world? What is that dispute? Anyone, very quickly? Just raise your hands, quickly, anyone. What is the dispute? Very quick. I know you have the answer. Right, it's so simple. The answer is given there. you know this, right? You think like this. Okay, so I know that you got the answer. There is a dispute between the yogis and the world pertaining to how things exist. The yogis, the ordinary world sees things as objective real, and yogis, they see things as empty of objective reality. This is where the two dispute. Okay. Now the next, refuting the realist in general. Realist. Okay, realist. A realist here, they has the connotation, those who believe in objectification of things, those who believe in objective existence, those who believe in objective existence, more precisely, the first two schools. Realist here refers to the realist in general, means anybody who believes in the objectively real things. Realist, meaning anybody who believes in objectively real things. Okay, this in general. Precisely here in this context, realist refers to the first two schools. What are the first two schools? Vaibhashika and Sautantrika. Very good. So in this context, precisely refers to the Vaibhashika and Sautantrika. So refuting the realists in general, but refuting contradiction with direct perception. Now the opponents. Okay. So this is, say you are Prasangika and I'm the realist, right? So what I say is that, okay, the flower, is it grown from the seed or not? What is your answer? And I'm rejecting you, right? You are Prasangikas. So my question to you is, the flowers, do they arise from the seeds? Yes. Which means the flower exists. Yes. So when you say flower exists, from my point of view, you accept the flower exists objectively. You're getting it? So when you say the flower exists, right, it is contradiction within yourself, from my point of view. But you will not agree with me. From my point of view, you say that no, so you contradict yourself. On one hand, you say the flower does not exist objectively. Now you are saying the flower exists objectively because you accept that the flower exists. So from me, when you say existence and objective existence, in my mind, these two are the same. So when you say flower exists, to my mind, I hear as well you are saying that flower exists objectively. Whereas if you say, no, the flower does not exist, that contradicts with the direct perception. You're getting it? It says, by refuting contradiction with direct perception, it contradicts with the direct perception. This is how the opponents try to reject the Prasangika's view. Okay, now it is not just the intellectual, say, debate, intellectual discussion between the scholars. No, this actually should be a debate within your own mind, right? Our old way of thinking, which says that everything should exist objectively, right? So, how many of you, when we start to have your birthday cakes, right? You ask the question, oh, objectively, the empty or objective existence cake, how many said it? We never said it, right? We never said it. Which means that our natural thinking is more in line with the lower schools. Now the study of this text is giving us the opportunity to combat our chronic, the misperception. Combating this by giving us some alternative way of thinking. What is that? That things don't exist objectively. So this version is encouraged within us, right? So therefore, although it is like a, say, exchange of the rigorous exchange between the scholars, but don't think that it's just it's not really for the practitioners, it's for the scholars. This is their business. This is not the point. The point is that this is a debate that should be going within our own mind, right? Okay, so, and you may find it at times it also happened to me. When I was, many years ago, when I was a student myself, that I felt a little, okay, emptiness, this book, I see this is a huge book, all right? And there's not just 20 books, right? And I felt demoralized, right? Okay, don't be scared, right? These books, don't worry, right? If there are 100 books, don't worry, right? You get hold of the main essence, you read any book, you will understand it. Right? It's not that you have to read one by one, no need. Right? Okay. Okay, if you know what is A, B, C, D, how many alphabets are there? 26. If you know these 26 alphabets, then you can read all this encyclopedia, right? 1,000, 2,000 books, whatever. It doesn't mean you can read all these books. Right? So don't be scared. It's not like learning the Chinese alphabets. Don't be scared. Okay. So therefore, so the point is that you may feel a little scared. Okay, now it's the discussion, scholars' discussion. No, right? Just learn it. Don't underestimate yourself. Just learn it. And if you feel that, okay, take it as a fun for you. Take it as a fun. Just listen to it. Even if I forget it, I don't worry. I don't care. Right? With this attitude, listen to us. Right? And then, second time you listen to this, you will see that I'm getting it. I'm understanding it. Right? You become a very serious listener. Third time, then you see that actually it's working inside you. Right? Okay. This is how we progress. Never underestimate yourself. Never close your door. Never close your door. This is so precious. At least give yourself 3 chances. At least 3 chances. And then if it doesn't work, drop it. It's fine. Right? With 3 chances, guaranteed that you will become a very serious practitioner of emptiness. Okay. But this the point is, say number 6, even direct perceptions of form and so forth only view conventionalities and are not valid cognitions. Right? Okay. So what it says here is that, say the ordinary people, say that I said that this flower exists objectively because I can see directly. Okay, when you look at this, okay, be very honest. Don't think that you're prasangikas. Right? Be very honest. Look at this flower. Are you seeing this? What is in my hand? A flower. Right? Okay. Upstairs. Okay, those upstairs, you're also seeing this flower. What is in my hand? Flower. How do you know that it's a flower? I can directly see it with my eyes, direct perception. I can directly see this, right? Okay. When you said, I can directly see this, what do you see directly, that object? How do you directly see this object? Like a dream? Your mind is like the mind like a movie projector projecting it. Or, no, it has nothing to do with my mind. It is there, and then from the object is coming to my mind. Which of the 2 ways you are directly seeing this? The second way. This is known as seeing the flower as objective, seeing the flower directly to be existing objectively. Right? So this is how the lower schools say that the flower exists objectively because I can directly see it as objective real. I can directly see it. Okay, so that now the say in the dream, right? You're dreaming. I say you're dreaming, and I pick up this flower up, right? What's in my hand? What do you say? Flower. Is a dream flower or a real flower? What is the answer? Real flower, right? Okay, and then if I say that this is not a real flower, this is you're dreaming, you will say that you're crazy. And how will you know that it's a dream flower? When will you know this? In the dream or outside the dream? Outside that dream, when you wake up, wow, what came as a flower in my dream was actually a dream flower, not a real flower. In the dream, you made others crazy. Who said that this is a dream flower? Now when you wake up, you realize that it was actually a dream flower. You're getting it? Likewise, what is seeing now? as an objectively real flower, this is like a dream. Objective real flower is totally non-existent, yet our ignorance conceives that as objective real. Okay. So it says, even direct perception. So what we see as objectively real by a direct perceptions, this direct perception is not a valid mind. This is mistaken. This is mistaken. Right? You're getting it? Okay. Okay. Even direct perceptions, so form and so forth, only view conventionalities and are not valid cognitions. Or only view conventional meanings, conventionalities, as opposed to ultimate. Ultimate meaning objective. What you are actually seeing is not really from the object. What you're seeing is, as opposed to object, what is subjective real is what you're seeing. What exists as subjective real. Actually, this flower exists subjectively. Yesterday we learned it. Yesterday or two days before. That the flower exists through the mind analyzing the convention. Emptiness of flower exists through the mind analyzing the ultimate. You're getting it? Say the same object, depending on which perception you use, which cognition you use. Ultimate analysis, you see the emptiness of flower. Conventional analysis, you see the is the flower, right? Okay, with the ultimate analysis, you see the emptiness of flower. So whether you see this a flower or whether you see this emptiness of flower depends on which analysis you use. You're getting it? So it is not 100% from the object. It's the mind. The mind, depending on what mind you use, ultimate analysis or conventional analysis, that determines what you are seeing. From the object side, it's not really there. You're getting it? Okay. For the time being, don't worry too much about that. Okay. Even direct perception of form and so forth only view conventionalities. What it sees is not actually objective real. What it sees is all coming from your mind, conventionalities, and are not valid cognitions, meaning and are not valid cognitions pertaining to the objective existence of the flower. Not valid cognitions with respect to the objective existence. Okay. Form and so on are false. Why? What we are seeing is why our mind is not valid cognition with respect to seeing the objective reality. Because form and so on are false. They don't exist objectively. They don't exist as truly. They exist as false. You're getting it? Okay, let's say the flower exists. Okay, the flower exists as objectively or subjectively? Subjectively. How does the flower appear to exist? How does the flower appear to exist? Objectively or subjectively? The flower appears to exist as objectively, but in reality, how does it exist? It exists from the subject. It exists from the subject. It exists from the subject means it does not exist objectively. It does not exist objectively means it does not exist truly. You agree with me? True existence, objective existence, they mean the same. We give these synonyms. So flower does not exist objectively means the flower does not exist truly. If it does not exist truly, how does it exist? Falsely. You're getting it? It exists falsely. It exists deceptively. Okay, so it says form and so on are false. False meaning they exist conventionally. They exist falsely. They exist subjectively, not truly. Like worldly acceptance of that, what is unclean and so forth, as clean and the like. For example, say, okay, wow. Professional. Okay. See how true that is. It's amazing. What it says? What is unclean? Like worldly acceptance of that, what is unclean and so forth, as clean and the like. Right? Okay, I put this, what is this? Candy, right? This candy. And if you trust my hands are clean, right? I give you, you will gladly take it. Now what I do? Give it to you? No. Right? Right? Okay, the moment I put it in my mouth, I give it to you, you will not take it. But look, I put it back. No problem. I give it to you, it becomes unclean. Right? For me, it's very clean. For you, it's very unclean. You do the same thing to me, right? You do the same thing to me, you put it in your mouth and you give it to me, I'll say no. Right? Again, it's very unclean. For you, it's very clean. Who's true? Your version is true or my version is true? I said that I'm very clean, you are not clean. Because when it comes from your mouth, I don't like it. Right? When it comes from my mouth, you don't like it. Right? So therefore, which is clean, which is not clean? We just cook ourselves that I'm the cleanest. And he's, so everyone sees yourself as the cleanest. So in actuality, nothing is really clean. Okay, I don't want to go into depth, right? In actual, what is actually unclean and so forth, we see them as clean and the like. In actuality, there's nothing really clean there, right? There's nothing really clean there. Okay, but the common people, they see what is unclean as very clean, right? Clean, very clean. So this is misperception. Likewise, we see things objectively real. Even this can be wrong because this is misperception. In actuality, things don't exist objectively. The flower does not exist objectively. Flower does not exist truly. If the flower does not exist truly, how does it exist then? It exists falsely. You're getting it? Okay. So in other words, up to this point, what we need to know is that the saying, if you want to make it very professional, then you can say that the Prasangika and the lower schools, they are disputing in terms of whether the flower exists the way it appears to us. So the lower schools, they say that flower does exist objectively the way it appears. Prasangika says that flower doesn't exist the way it appears. Flower doesn't exist as true. The flower exists as false. So this is the dispute. With this dispute, how can we solve this dispute? Prasangika is saying that flower does not exist truly, and the lower schools, they said flower exists truly. Prasangika says flower exists falsely. So how do you settle the dispute? Anyone? Very quick. Anyone? Hey, how do you settle the dispute? Well, if you are going to be the judge, how are you going to settle the dispute? Tell me. Just raise your hands very quickly. Huh? What measure are you going to use? What technique? What measure? Or how do you do it? It is not necessary that you alone should be deciding it, but you create the strategy. How are you going to decide it? Okay, your name? Jovis. Okay, Jovis. Okay, Jovis is saying that the flower exists, but the flower doesn't exist objectively. Right? In other words, Jovis is saying that the flower exists, both sides accept. Now we will see, you'll use our reasoning to see whether the flower exists objectively or not. We'll use the reasoning. And the reasoning, valid reason, will take us to one of the two conclusions. So whichever conclusion is you reach by using the valid reason, then we will decide on that basis. So what valid reason will you use? The following stanzas will take us to the valid reasons to be used to decide which of the two versions is correct. Don't simply say the Prasanga is correct, right? If you say like this without learning how Prasanga is correct, and you say Prasanga is correct, all others are wrong, this is a biased attitude. This is not the approach of the Buddha, right? Okay, let's see. B, by refuting contradiction with Buddha's words. Okay, now the lower schools, they say that, okay, how many of you want me to say something a little extreme? You don't mind me saying something a little extreme. How many of you don't mind? How many of you won't be scared? Oh wow, that's amazing. Okay, let's say that this flower that you're seeing, the people that you're seeing around, all right? Okay, and your friends who are seeing that you're sitting around, right? How we see them as so real. This is deceptive, right? If you really understand how the people next to you, your family members and so forth, how they exist, if you really discover that, it's quite shocking, right? So let's say that I'm hallucinating. You getting it? And I hallucinate and I see a tiger jumping here and there. You getting it? I'm hallucinating and I'm seeing a tiger jumping here and there. Dorji, is it possible? People can have such hallucination? Yes? Yes, okay. Say I'm hallucinating and I'm seeing tiger jumping here and there. Okay, tell me. Tiger jumping in TBC, does it exist or not? Tiger jumping in TBC of 2018, June, what date? 20, right? Does it exist or not? It doesn't exist. Tiger jumping in this hall today is not true. It is non-existent. Tell me, appearance of the tiger jumping in TBC 2018, June 20th, is it existent or non-existent? What did I say? There are two things. First, what I said was, tiger jumping in this hall, exist, non-exist. Appearance of the tiger jumping in this hall, exist, not exist, my question. The first one, tiger jumping in this hall, exist, not exist, does not exist. Appearance of the tiger jumping here in this hall, exist, non-exist. Yes, non-exist. Doctor? Yes, no? Okay, mind perception, is this a perception or not? And that perception exists or not? Yes. So the perception of the tiger jumping here and there exists, but it exists with respect to me, not with you. Because it exists with respect to me, it still exists. Appearance exists. Because it exists, doctor wants to heal me, give me medicine. If it does not exist, why should they have to heal me? Right? So the appearance of the tiger jumping here and there exists. But how does it exist? Because of the hallucination, not because of the objective reality. Because of the hallucination. Right? So because of the ignorance, we are seeing your friends here, there, beautiful flowers here. All these things, the plurality of things appear because of this hallucinating mind within us. Right? It's quite scary. Right? Right? Okay, it's quite scary. Okay. Don't forget it. Right? Now the next is, to come to that conclusion, you don't have to believe in me. You don't have to believe. You don't have to just believe in the Buddha. Right? Just follow the rational reasoning. Follow the rational reasoning, and eventually you come to realize that, yes, from the object side, it's not really there. This appearance exists, not as object real. It's all because of the misperception, hallucination, the hallucinating factor here. Likewise, because of the ignorance, everything comes into existence. Because of the dreaming mind, because of deception in the dream, whole dream is created. Yes? Right? Okay. Okay, let's go down now. B, by refuting contradiction with Buddha's words. Now what they say is that, okay, fine. You are saying that nothing really exists objectively, right? Nothing really exists objectively. It's just conventionally or from the mind, subjectively it is real, but actually nothing really exists from the object. If that is the case, why the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths? The Buddha taught impermanence. And the Buddha is the reliable guide. Buddha does not tell lies. Buddha is not confused. Right? Ordinary people may be confused. Vaibhashika may be confused, but the Buddha is not confused. Why did the Buddha teach the Four Noble Truths if the Four Noble Truths don't exist objectively? Right? Okay, so say, refuting the contradiction with Buddha's words. So they say that Prasangika, when you say that nothing exists objectively, you are contradicting the Buddha's words. This is what they are, accusing the Prasangikas. Okay, then the Prasangika says that, yes, the Buddha taught impermanence. Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. It is like, okay, how many of you had the very scary dream? Ghost chasing you at least once in your life. Anyone? How many of you had such a dream? Yes, most of us. Okay, so when you have this dream, when the ghost is chasing you, then the same, which do you prefer? The ghost coming to chase you? And then, right, then you are running for your life, and nobody comes to rescue you. This is one. Another, the dream where the ghost is chasing you, and suddenly the tantric, somebody who practices tantra, right, comes to rescue you by saying Om Mani Padme Hum, right? and the ghost runs away. Okay, tell me, which of the two dreams you prefer? The first or second? Why? Both are dreams. Both are not real. Both are not real. Why do you prefer the second one? Okay. There's no difference when you come out from the dream. In the dream, there is difference. Right? In the dream, there is difference. In the dream, better somebody comes to say Om Mani Padme Hum, let the ghost run away. Right? In the dream. When you wake up, there's no difference. Whether somebody comes to say Om Mani Padme Hum, or whether somebody does not come, anyone, you don't care. Right? Both will not affect you in any ways. You're getting it? So therefore, at the moment, why everything is affecting us? Why we have to go for divination, right? Please, Rinpoche, do the divination for me. I have this problem, right? And why this? Because we are still in the dream. We are still in the dream. Once you wake up from this dream, seeing the emptiness, you are freed, like, When you wake up, no difference whether the ghost is chasing you, whether somebody removes the ghost, there's no difference for you. While where you are in the dream, it affects. You getting it? Likewise, say the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths, it is like in the dream, helping you to get away from the ghost and so forth. So he says, why the Buddha taught, if the Four Noble Truths do not exist objectively, if the impermanence does not exist objectively, why did the Buddha teach them? So it says, for the sake of letting the world enter into reality, right? In the dream, first, you are so scared, right? In the dream, why are you scared? There's a ghost there. Okay, don't worry, I will cast a spell on the ghost, Om Mani Padme Hum, and the ghost runs away, and you feel calm. Hey, are you calm now? Yes, this is a dream. You wake up. And you wake up, yes, it's a dream. So it's a skillful way to wake you up. It's a skillful way to wake you up. Why the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths? Why the Buddha taught the impermanence and so forth? It is to lead us to eventually to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Right? Okay. For the sake of letting the world enter into reality. And in reality means waking up to see the reality. The guardian meaning the Buddha, taught about things such as impermanence, such as Four Noble Truths and so forth. It's not because the Buddha thought that Four Noble Truths exist objectively real. In the guardian taught about things. In the ultimate sense, however, they are not momentary. In the ultimate sense, In the ultimate sense meaning, objectively, nothing is impermanent. Nothing is permanent, nothing is impermanent. Nothing really exists objectively. Everything exists how? Hey, everything exists? Nothing exists objectively. How? Everything exists how? Subjectively. So, on the ultimate level, objectively, nothing exists as momentary. Although the Buddha taught things as momentary, things as impermanent, but what the Buddha taught is a skillful ways for us to slowly take us to realize the ultimate reality. In the ultimate sense, however, they are not momentary, but there is also contradictory conventionally. Okay, so the opponents, they, okay, now, okay, you are prasangikas, right? Okay, the flower being impermanent, does it exist objectively or not? The flower is impermanent, does it exist objectively? Hey. Okay, the flower being impermanent, does it, you are all prasangikas, right? The flower being impermanent, does it exist? Yes, does it exist objectively? No, okay, you said no, right? Okay, if it does not exist objectively, how does it exist then? It exists subjectively. Does it exist ultimately? No, how does it exist then? Conventionally, okay. You said it, don't change your mind. What did you say? That the flower to be impermanent, and that Singapore is impermanent. Singapore is impermanent. No? Singapore is impermanent. Singapore being impermanent, does it exist ultimately? No. With the Singapore, your tone is low. Why? Tell me, Singapore being impermanent, does it exist ultimately? No. If it does not exist ultimately, how does it exist? Conventionally. Okay, now look, this is what you said it. Don't change your mind. Okay, now the opponents of Prasangika, what they say is that Singapore being impermanent, you said that it exists conventionally, but conventionally it is not. Convention meaning how the conventional world accepts. Conventional world says that Singapore, with the label is Singapore, it may come later, but Singapore as a place, it existed since long time ago and it will keep existing like this. Right? So therefore it is, from the conventional point of view, it is permanent. It is not impermanent. You're getting what is your answer now? Did you follow the argument? They said, what you said is that Singapore being impermanent does not exist ultimately, it exists conventionally. Now I'm arguing that it does not exist conventional also. Because conventional means how the conventional world accepts. Conventional world will say the historians. They will say, oh, Singapore, the label came later. Right? What? Singha, what is that? Singapura, right? Okay, the king saw the strange animal there, which is known as Singha, right? And the land of the Singapura, right? Okay, so the point is that the Singapura label came later, but the place, as a place, it existed since early on, and it will keep going like this. It's eternal, it's permanent. So conventionally, this is permanent. So how can you say that it is impermanent? Conventionally, right? Okay, so for this, what is your response? Very quick. You said it, that is conventional. Now I'm arguing that it's not conventional. It's conventional, it is not impermanent, it's permanent. So what is the argument? Yes, Vijay.
Not everything that the conventional world accepts is
true. Not, but what I said is correct or not? That this place known as Singapore today, this place existed many years ago and will exist many years later, so therefore it's not changing, it's permanent.
It's changing moment by moment. It's still changing. Singapore is changing even from when it is a small, then it's changing, then it will be changing.
Okay, so this, so what Chen Chen is saying, as Singapore, although it exists as a place since many hundred years ago, and will exist as a place since the many hundred years in the future, but this place, while it exists in the process of changing. So change is involved there. So overall speaking, we say that it exists eternally, but in actuality, there's a change undergoing there. So therefore, this is how the ordinary people, their perception is very gross. They don't see the subtle. For example, say, if you look at, okay, say, if you look at the, okay, let's hear. If you look at this clock, right, the hour hand, do you see the hour hand moving? No. But in actuality, it is moving or not? It is moving. You're getting it? So ordinary people's eyes, their consciousness is very gross. They don't have the ability to see the subtlety. So although things are impermanent, but they don't see things as impermanent because of the limitation of the consciousness. Right? In actuality, they are still impermanent. Okay, this is done. Next. Okay, stanza 8. The convention of yogis has no fault. Otherwise, their discernment of the uncleanliness of the other would be undermined by the world. Okay, let's say that now, how do we say that ordinary people see the flower is permanent, Singapore is permanent, the self is permanent, right? Okay, we see things as permanent, and the yogis meaning who are deeply reflective, contemplative into the reality, they see things as impermanent, all composite things as impermanent. So, which of the two perceptions is correct? So we can say that how the convention of the yogis, how the yogis perceive their convention, their acceptance, that is more reliable than the ordinary people's conventions. Conventions there are two. The convention of the yogis has no fault. How? Otherwise, their discernment of the uncleanliness of the other person would be undermined by the world. Say me, again this sweet, right? I'm putting back. But I give you say it's very dirty, right? The yogis will see whether he puts back or there's no difference for him. Both are unclean. In both ways it's unclean, right? If I give it to you, you say it's unclean, right? And you give it to me, I say it's unclean, right? So if you are correct, then if you're correct, then I cannot eat it because I don't eat unclean things, right? If I'm correct, you cannot eat this. What you're trying to give me, because that is unclean. You don't eat unclean things. Because you said that, when you try it, you said no because it's unclean, which means that you don't take unclean things. So what you have taken out is also unclean. Okay, so it says that of the unclean, so what the yogi sees is through a very deep reflection, and they see the subtle realities. Okay. Of the uncleanness of the other, were undermined by the world. Okay, now there are, 4 important points. 4 important points to be discussed under. The first one is rejecting the absurdity pertaining to accumulation of merits. Rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the accumulation of merits. Rejecting the absurdity, meaning that, the opponents argue that if things don't exist objectively, then how can you account for the accumulation of merit to achieve Buddhahood? Right? Rejecting, okay, technically, you just write the technical point, then I'll explain this later. Rejecting the absurdity that, what did I say? Rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the accumulation of the merits. Okay. Then the second is rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the rebirth. This is interesting. Rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the rebirth. Number 3. rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the distinguishing of virtues and the virtues and non-virtues. Rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the distinguishing of the virtues and non-virtues. And then finally, rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the distinguishing of samsara and nirvana. Okay, let me say this again. Rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the accumulation of, what do you say? Merits. Number 2, rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the rebirth. Number 3, rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the distinguishing of the virtues and the non-virtues. And finally, rejecting the absurdity pertaining to the distinguishing of samsara and nirvana. Okay. What is the first one? Pertaining to accumulation merit. If what they are saying, the opponents, you are Prasangika, I'm your opponent, I believe in objective existence and you don't believe in, and you are saying that everything is subjective real, and I'm saying that everything is objective real. Right? I'm saying everything is objective real. So, from my point of view, when you say everything is subjective real, from my point of view, you are saying that everything is imaginary. Okay. Can you give me an example of imaginary? What is imaginary? Can you give an example of what is imaginary? Okay, tell me what's the difference between, this book and the imaginary blue book? What's the difference? Huh? One is from the object, one is from the subject. So everything is purely subjective, right? Then everything becomes imaginary. Hey, who is saying everything is subjective? You or me? Huh? You the Prasangikas. Right? So in a way you are saying that everything is imaginary. Right? This is how I understand. And if you, by studying emptiness, everything is subjective, then everything becomes imaginary, in a way you are following me. You're getting it? In a way you are following me. In a way you are following the lower schools. You have not understood Prasangika well. So if you understood Prasangika well, then you can distinguish between imaginary things and subjectively real things. Subjectively imaginary things, subjectively real things. You can make the distinction. Okay, with this in mind, the first, what they are saying is that if nothing exists objectively real, if everything is nothing exists objectively real, then everything should be subjectively real. If everything is subjectively real, everything should become imaginary. If everything becomes imaginary, right, then they say you trying to accumulate merit to follow the path of gate, paragate, parasamgate. Why are you following all these things? Gate, paragate, why? For Bodhisattva, Buddhahood. You getting it? So there's no point. If everything imaginary, why should you have to put all this effort? Gate, paragate. Imaginary, you can say just, I imagine I'm in the gate, now I'm in the Bodhisattva gate, Bodhisattva. Imaginary, you can jump directly. Right? So what's the point of accumulating merit? Why should you waste time? Why should you waste your energy? Just go jump directly to Bodhisattva. Right? So it says stanza 8. No, stanza 9. Stanza 9. From the illusion like victorious ones meaning to Buddhas, positive forces arise. Just as for those believing in true things, but if a sentient being were like an illusion, then how could he take rebirth once having died? So that is the second point. The first point is, from the illusion like victorious ones, positive forces arise. So say, for us to follow through gate, paragate, parasamgate, right? We make prostrations to the Buddhas. We make offerings to the Buddhas, to the victorious ones. We make offerings. Why are we doing all these things? To accumulate merit. Why should you have to accumulate merit? You can directly go, tell me, why are you make offerings to the Buddhas? to accumulate merit. Why should you have to accumulate merit? What for? Huh? No idea. Why are we accumulating merit? Why? Create the causes for enlightenment, for Buddhahood, right? So merit for the accumulation to become a Buddha as causes for achieving Buddhahood. But if everything is subjective real, everything becomes imaginary. If imaginary, then there is no cause, there is no difference. Yes? Yes, no? If everything is imaginary, right? Okay, I'm sure some of you did not have dinner. Raise hands who do not have yet have dinner. Okay, Yan is not all of you, right? Those who do not have dinner, I'll give you dinner. Okay. Just imagine cheesecake. Imagine cheesecake, you eat it. Right? Imaginary. You will laugh. Why you laugh? Because it's imaginary. Right? Imaginary means it's subjective. Right? If it's not objective, it becomes subjective. If it's subjective, it is imaginary. If it is imaginary, then you laugh at it. So therefore, if it becomes imaginary, then there is no accumulation merit. Merit makes no sense. Right? Accumulation merit makes no sense. So how can you account for the accumulation merit if things are empty of objective reality? This is one debate put forth by the opponents, the realist. Put forth by the realist against prasangikas, right? Okay. So the answer given is this is so important. This is known as harmony between emptiness, bringing harmony between emptiness and the conventional world. Bringing harmony between emptiness and the functional world. Right? Bringing harmony between emptiness and functional world. In other words, when you say emptiness, it doesn't mean nothingness. Right? Emptiness, in emptiness, the whole world functions so orderly, so properly. Right? So, how to bring this harmony? How to bring this experience of the harmony between emptiness and the functionality of the world, functional world? How to bring this? This is the most, Lama Tsongkhapa said that this is the most difficult part pertaining to the understanding of emptiness according to Prasangika. You're getting it? How to bring the harmony of the emptiness and functional world. Still able to account for the functionalities of the world. How? Okay, so it says that, let's say that, okay. Okay, let's say that the Buddha doesn't exist objectively. Buddha doesn't exist independently. Buddha exists by dependence on his mind, on dependence on his quality of the Buddhahood, right? By dependence on all these factors, then the concept of Buddha came into being, right? By dependence on these factors, the Buddha came into being. And you accumulating merit also does not exist objectively, and it does not exist independently. It exists by dependence on the object known as a Buddha. On dependence you as the devotee, as the agent, and this act of devotion, showing respect, by dependence on these factors, then the act of accumulated merit comes into being. There's no independently known as the merit accumulation. Only by dependence on the various factors, then the merit accumulation comes into being. Independently, there's no merit accumulation, right? So it says that from the illusion like victorious ones, meaning even the Buddha is also empty of objective existence. Even though Buddha is also dream-like, even the Buddha is also like illusion. So from the illusion like victorious ones, positive forces, illusion like positive forces arise. Right? Illusion like positive forces arise. Okay. So for us to understand this part, this is a very complicated part, and it's right there in the beginning. Let us say that, okay, when you look at the traffic, right? Traffic exists, not exists? It exists. Everything exists. We said it. Everything exists. How, if everything exists, all these things that exist, how do they appear to you? How do they appear to exist? How do they appear to exist? Objectively, subjectively? Objectively, this appearance. What is the reality? They exist objectively, subjectively? Subjectively. You're getting it? Okay. Which means that the world still functions. Right? World still functions. The traffic is there. And if the traffic is heavy, even the ambulance cannot go. Right? All these problems are there. All these problems are there. This is the reality. Is there. But this reality is happening where? It's happening on this subjective level, not on the objective level. They do exist, but they don't exist on the objective level the way our ignorance perceives things. They exist subjectively. So subjectively means like a dream. Just as a dream is coming from your mind, right? Everything, even the traffic and so forth, they come into being by the power of your mind, subjectively. So if that is the case, then if everything, including Buddha, is coming by the power of your own mind, then even the Buddha becomes like illusion coming from your mind. Illusion, like dream, like a mirage. Right? They all come into being by the power of the mind. Just as the dream comes by the power of the mind, just as the illusion arises by the power of the mind, even the Buddha, everything exists by the power of the mind. Everything exists subjectively. You're getting it? So therefore, that the illusion like Buddha gives rise to the illusion like merit. Okay. So one example the Buddha gave is very beautiful. The Buddha was asked, if nothing really exists objectively, then how do you account for the functionalities? Then the Buddha gave the analogy of one illusory elephant chasing another illusory elephant. Right? Say, in those days, the 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar is considered very important. 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar in Tibet was Lama Tsongkhapa. They pronounced that as the great prayer day, the Mulam Chenmo, right? Great prayer day. So why? Because on this day, the Buddha Shakyamuni performed so many miracles. Miracles meaning not reality, right? Perform miracles, show the miracles, illusions. All these magical illusions were shown. Why? Because they were the competitors who were jealous of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? They were competitors there. They were always creating nuisance on the Buddha, coming there, and Buddha becoming so popular. So they were so unhappy. They came there, and then they telling the Buddha that you are not really, the great. We are more greater than you, right? And we like to compete with you. The Buddha said, okay. Then when? Okay, tomorrow. Then Buddha said, okay. Tomorrow they came, the Buddha disappeared. Again they chased the Buddha, they become even more egoistic. Again they saw the Buddha, again they said, look, you're being so weak, you're being so covered. You decided on the date and you ran away. And Buddha said, okay, yes. So you are nothing, we are greater than you. Yes, the Buddha said, yes. We like to compete with you. Okay, when? The next day. Again the Buddha disappeared. It happened like 3-4 times. Then finally, on the 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, the Buddha accepted. Finally, the Buddha accepted the offer of the competition. Then first they created all sorts of illusory things, and Buddha created another illusion which destroyed the illusion of the competitors. Right? So although both are illusions. Competitors, they were also creating illusions. Buddha was also creating illusions. Within the illusion, the Buddha's illusion is more powerful to destroy the illusion created by the competitors. You're getting it? So therefore, one illusory elephant chasing another illusory elephant. Likewise, the functionality is there. Everything is functioning. Say we are doing what we are doing here, and then while the traffic is going there. and the say good things can happen, bad things happen, everything's happening, but not really objective real. They're all subjective real, but within this domain of the subjectivity, within this domain of the falsity, things are all operating. We said everything exists. Everything exists. Where? Not objectively, subjectively. Simply in your thought. In reality, the world has been operating subjectively since beginningless time. The world has been operating on this level. But we, through our ignorance, we perceive the world as operating on the objective level. You're getting it? Okay, let's say it is like, how many of you have seen 3D movies? Okay, those who do not see the 3D movies? Okay, you must watch 3D movies, right? Okay, when you watch 3D movies, tell me now that you're not watching it, tell me, that movie, or what is on the screen, is that 3D or 2D? In actuality, it's 2D. When you put on the special, what do you call it? The glasses, huh? 3D glasses. Special 3D glasses, then what is 2D is seen as 3D, right? And you watch the movie for 2 hours. 2 hours you will see 3D, right? In actuality, is there any 3D? Whatever is happening, whatever you are seeing there is actually happening on the 2D. But is your misconception, ignorance, the illusion, the delusion within you, that deceives us to see that as 3D. And never was there 3D there, it was just 2D. Likewise, never was there objectively real things there, right? They're all coming from your own mind. Like watching a movie, right? Watching a movie for, okay, in Singapore, what's the duration of the movie? Okay, let's say 2 hours. 2 hours you're watching the movie. Say you're watching a movie here, on the screen, here. And where is this movie coming from? From the projector. Where is the movie? On the screen. But the movie is coming from, not from the screen, it's coming from the projector. You're getting it? And the projector, you are 2 hours watching at the screen. You never watch the projector. Right? 2 hours you're watching the screen. Right? And actually that is all coming from the projector. And projector, 2 hours it is busy. And our mind as a projector was busy since eternally till now and will be busy till the end. Till we reach the gate, para-gate level. Para-gate level, you will get a small rest. Para-gate level, when you see emptiness directly, at that point, this projector will stop for some time. Right? Then you will see the reality. Right? When the projector stops, then what do you see? The real skin you will see. The real screen, when you will see the real skin, when the projector stops, you'll see the reality. What is there? It's clean, empty. Right? Right? So that way, say when you reach the para-gate level, at that point, then your mind, this projector which projects things, it stops for a while. Right? When you have the non-dual experience of emptiness, it stops for a while, then you see the actual screen there. What is that? Emptiness, ultimate reality. So, in its bare form, this is what you're going to see. And again, you come out of the meditation, again the projector starts. Paragati level. Then the Parasangati, same. Right? Well, sometimes it stops when you're into non-dual experience of emptiness. Again, when you come out to give teachings and so forth, again it starts. Then Bodhisattva, it stops completely. Right? It stops completely. You are into the non-dual wisdom of emptiness, eternity. Okay. So with this, the point that I'm saying is that one, within everything's functioning, everything existent. The functional world is existent. The functional world, the functionality is existent. Existent where? Not objectively, subjectively. Subjective means like within illusion. Like so, illusion like food, illusion like eating will remove the illusion like hunger. Right? This is how everything is operating. Right? Illusion like going to high school will get you the certificate. Illusion like the college. But NSU or SUN? NSU, NUS, right? Illusion like the high school you finish, then you go into the illusion like NUS. Illusion like NUS, you finish that, you get an illusion like job. Right? Okay, this is how things are operating. So what you do is, in actuality, all what the ordinary people, how they describe the functionality, you add just the word illusory, everything's same. Right? Only the ordinary people, they see them as from the objective. So they don't qualify this illusion like. Why we qualify this illusion like? Because we see them as from the subject, not from the object. From the object is empty. Right? But the ordinary people, they are seeing like the 3D movie there. 3D. Is it 3D? No, it's just 2D. Right? So what you're seeing is that you are seeing that it's just a 2D. Well, but then why they are seeing 3D? It's illusion-like. Right? So everything operates, but where? In the illusion-like nature. Okay. Stanza 9. From the illusion-like victorious ones, positive forces, illusion-like positive forces meaning merits. Positive forces meaning merits. Illusion-like merits arise. Just as for those believing in true existence, true things. For example, those who believe in true things, those who believe in objective existence, they say, you accumulate merit by dependence on the Buddha. Right? So, you will say that with the help of the illusion-like Buddha, you accumulate the illusion-like merit. Right? So, the thing is that they are seeing this functionality where? Objectively. You are seeing the functionality where? Subjectively. Subjectively means illusion-like. Okay, tell me, why subjective existence is described as illusion-like? Why? Anyone? This is very important. Very quick. Why subjective existence is described as illusion-like? Okay, Mike.
It's the projection of the mind.
Okay, once more. Say, why subjective existence? If you see something as subjective existence, you describe that as illusion-like. Why? So the answer is that it is because it is a projection of the mind. So why, if something is a projection of mind, you call it as illusion-like? Why? Yes, which hand?
Because they appear to exist in one way, but in reality they exist in another way.
Okay, very
so
good.
there's a discrepancy.
Very good. Okay, both answers are correct. So what is the similarity between the dream? Dream-like means there should be some similarity. What is the similarity between the dream and the subjectivity? What's the similarity? That both are coming from your mind, both are coming from this subject. You're getting it? Just as a dream is coming from your mind, subject, even things also exist by the power of your subject, by the mind. So therefore, the things are known as the illusion-like, dream-like. Very good. Okay. So this finish with the first point, which is the what? Refuting the absurdity pertaining to the accumulation merit. Number 2, refuting the absurdity pertaining to the rebirth. Right? So now what they say is that if everything is illusion-like, if everything is subjectively real, then everything becomes like imaginary. If there's imaginary, then there's no rebirth. How can you account for rebirth? Right? Rebirth means there should be something going. It's not just imaginary. There should be something going from one life to the other. Yes? No? Hey, Singaporeans. Tell me, what travels from one life to the other? What travels? Huh? The consciousness travels, the mind travels, the self? Self doesn't travel. Well, this is Singaporean version. Self doesn't travel. Okay, what travels? The mind travels, consciousness travels, what else? Huh? Time travels, no, pertaining to rebirth. Okay, pertaining to rebirth, what travels? The consciousness travels, mind travels, what else? Okay, karma travels, very good. Subtle clear mind, light mind travels, very good. And also the self travels. Self travels. How the self travels? Because the self dies here. Right? Self travels because the self, it has Okay, the self of Dorji, self of this life. Self doesn't die. Self of this life dies. Self of this life dies. The self I, this I, Dorji dies. But this I, pretending Dorji, this I, that continues. The self continues, but the self of this life doesn't continue, it dies. Okay, so with this, the question is, if nothing exists objectively, then things should be subjectively real. If things are subjectively real, then what's the problem? Everything becomes like imaginary. If everything is like imaginary, then what travels to the next life? Nothing travels. How can I account for the rebirth? Right? So you, the Prasangikas, being supposedly, right, the best example of the Buddhist practitioners, so how can I account for the rebirth? If you don't account for the rebirth, how can you claim yourself to be Buddhist in the first place? So this question. So it says, but if a sentient being were like an illusion, then how could he take rebirth once having died? Okay, stanza 10. So long as conditions are gathered together, the illusion lasts that long. Right? Same illusion. We said that the same everything is like illusion. Rebirth is like illusion. So what is illusion? Illusion and imaginary things. These two are different. Imaginary and illusion, these are slightly different. Illusion exists. Imaginary doesn't exist. So illusion, when you speak of the illusion, how many of you have seen the magical show? Magical show, how many have seen that? Magical show? Okay, say the Wayne, do you see that? Do you see magical show? Okay, magical show, how long did it last? Short one. Okay, did you go for just 5 minutes magical show? No, it can't be. Maybe magical show lasts for like, say, if you particularly go for a magical show, right? It may be for like half an hour, 1 hour, like this. Let's say 1 hour. So 1 hour, it lasts for 1 hour. And then from after 1 hour, then the magician winds up everything. So magical show, the magical illusion stops after 1 hour, let's say after 1 hour, right? So what makes the magical illusion continue for 1 hour and what makes it stop after 1 hour? Depend on the different magician. Wow. Okay. Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay. Yes, I cannot say anything now. That's true. That depends on magician. That depends on magician. Okay, let's say they say the burner here. The burner. How long does the flame last? How long does this flame last? As long as the oil is there, the flame will last that long. Okay. If the oil lasts for 1 hour, then the flame will last for 1 hour. After this, flame dies. Which means, for the flame, the oil is not the flame. Oil is not the flame, but by dependence of the oil, the flame comes into being. So the factors dependent on which the flame comes into being, when these factors stop, then the flame also stops. The factors dependent on which the illusion arises, when these factors stop, then the illusion also stops. You're getting it? As long as the factors continue, illusion will continue. As you said, you're right, the magician. Right? So the magician, once you keep the magical illusion continue, then he will continue to have these factors. As long as the factors required for the magical illusion to arise, as long as these factors last, that long, the magical illusion also lasts. You're getting it? Likewise, the rebirth. Rebirth is also like illusion, and it comes into being by depends on the factors. As long as these factors last, the rebirth will last that long. You getting it? Okay. So now the point is that what are the factors of rebirth? Tell me. What are the factors of rebirth? Rebirth meaning you taking a new birth. New birth. So what are the factors for new birth? Your previous karma, and then what? Your previous consciousness also required. precious consciousness required, and driven by the karma, all these factors. So as long as these factors are there, then the rebirth continues. As long as the karma lasts, as long as consciousness is there, the rebirth continues to happen. You're getting it? So they answer, but the illusion is very short duration, right? Like what Wayne said. Illusion is very short duration. Rebirth is eternal. It just endlessly go till you achieve nirvana, right? So how come that you are given the analogy of the illusion for rebirth? Because rebirth is so long and the illusion is very short duration. So the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra was saying that illusion, it is not a matter of duration. It's not a matter of duration. It's a matter of how it exists. Right? Illusion. Why we describe something as illusion? Because it does not exist the way it appears. It appears so real, and in actuality it's all coming from your mind. That is known as illusion. Okay. And the illusion can be very long. Right? In your mind, you can have an illusion, but you get the impression it's like so whole one life. You getting it? Okay. Okay, it's already 9:30. So, illusion, it says that, stanza 10, so long as conditions are gathered together, the illusion lasts that long, right? Likewise, so long as the conditions for the rebirth gathers, rebirth also lasts that long. So therefore, rebirth can last long, illusion also lasts long. It's not that the illusions are short, therefore the rebirth cannot be like illusion. Then how could a sentient being be truly existent? Merely because his continuum lasts long, right? So they're saying that, opponents are saying that the rebirth cannot be illusion-like. If it is illusion-like, illusion lasts so long, so short, illusion. So therefore, rebirth also should be very short. But the sentient beings who take the rebirth, its duration is so long. So how can you say that it is like illusion? This is the opponent's point. And Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is saying that it doesn't matter. It's not the duration we're talking about. What we're talking about is just as the illusion arises from your mind, even the rebirth is also coming by the power of your mind, but dependence on other factors. Okay. Okay, the next is a very serious question. Okay, maybe one or two questions. Any questions before we stop? Any questions? Okay, yes. The mic.
Sorry, good.
Yes, it's working.
Okay, Geshe, I may not be phrasing it well. Okay, we are saying that. Let me see. Lost my question. Okay, I'm just trying to see the functionality of things, because we say that there's a difference between something that's imaginary and things that is subjectively existent. Okay, so things that is subjective existent, there is functionality, there's cause and effect. All those are functioning.
Is it working? This mic.
Yeah, so there is a difference between imaginary things and subjectively existing things, right? Things that are subjectively existing, and things that are subjectively existing, we are able to posit cause and effect and functionality. So I'm just thinking, the difference between the two is basically when things are subjectively existing, they're still external. It's still external from the mind, but the only thing is that what we think it to come from the object is actually all coming from our mind. So because things are still existing externally, does that account for the difference and the functionality?
Okay. I couldn't follow the question too well. So first let me paraphrase your question. We make distinction between imaginary things and the subjectively existent things. Imaginary things may not exist. Subjectively existent things do exist. Right? Okay. So within this domain of subjectively existent things, within that, the things can exist externally. right? The flower exists externally, and so forth. So then, what is your next question?
I was trying to differentiate between imaginary things and subjectively existing things because both are coming from the mind.
Okay, both are coming from the mind. Imaginary things and the subjective existing things, both come from the mind. Very good.
And the key difference is that subjectively existing thing, there's functionality. So I'm trying to account for why functionality exists there versus imaginary things. So the difference is that though it's coming from the mind, it's still projecting on something external. Though the external is illusion-like all the way. I mean, you can't even posit something that's objectively there. Everything is coming from the mind, but it's still something out there, which is a different from imaginary thing, which doesn't exist at all.
Okay.
So because of that substance...
You mean to say that imaginary things and the subjectively existent things, for the subjectively existing things, within that we can speak about the external objects. So the subjectivity happens on the basis of the imputation happening on the external objects, although the external objects themselves are empty of objective existence. So whereas for the imaginary things, they don't have the external things. On that basis, we can speak about the functionality possible pertaining to the subjectively existing things, whereas the functionality is not possible pertaining to the imaginary things. Is that what I'm saying? Okay, this is a very good point. Very good point. And okay, I would say that this is a wonderful point made, right? Wonderful point made. And the next few days, we will see how the two things fit, right? And it's a brilliant attempt. Brilliant that externality is there. Externality is there. While the externality does not exist objectively, although it exists subjectively, still is external. So on that basis, then the functionality is operating. Whereas for the imaginary, you cannot account for the externality. So therefore the functionality is not possible. Okay, this is a very good point. And I'm not too sure how the Chittamatrans may not be too happy with you. Right? But you don't mind. You are Prasangika. Right? Okay. So this is a very good point made. Any more questions? Okay. If not, we'll stop here. Let us do the direction prayer. Page 22. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach the state, may I be held in a loving kindness for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of the complete graded parts of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by a strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, from the points of the path as I discern them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever directions the most precious teachings have not spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure in happiness and aid. May the mind of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deed be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completely due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for the practice of excellent paths never be separated in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold mind and virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of the Dharma and the beings in the snowland. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of poverty press against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life.